So I've been meaning to do a video on the Sorare Scoring Matrix for a few years now. I don't know why I've been putting it off, but it does feel like we're at a stage now where I can't really see the Sorare Scoring Matrix changing too much. There has been one new thing added to it over the last couple of weeks. So this is the 22-23 Scoring Matrix Medium article, which was uploaded obviously a couple of years ago now, but nothing has actually changed from what the Scoring Matrix was then to now, apart from one thing, which of course we'll definitely get into. But yeah, I thought it'd make sense to just kind of go through the matrix per position and maybe just dumb it down a little bit, because yeah, it is quite intricate compared to maybe an FPL matrix, which I don't play FPL, but I know it is a lot more simple, and I get that there's a thirst for that for sure, in fantasy sports. But the Scoring Matrix on Sorare is really unique, and it's something that I think makes the game super interesting. And of course, not only are we always concentrating on goals and assists, for example, there's massive scores to be had for defensive, tackles, interceptions, duels won, attempted assists, even though that's not a defensive thing. But there's just loads of things outside of goals and assists that players can score points for and make them valuable cards and players in the game. It just makes it super exciting. So leave a like if you do enjoy the video, lads. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you're completely new to Sorare, there will be a link in the description of this video that will get you free market credits once you've purchased your first 5 cards from the auctions over on Sorare. And that is the intro out of the way. We'll do it by position, but we'll have a little scan through this Medium article. I'll then use Sorare data for a little bit to kind of show you how it's all laid out. And we're going to do it over on Sorare as well, because yeah, I mean, both platforms tell you the same thing, but just in different ways. Anyway, let's go through the Medium article then. So I won't go through all the actual wordage, because a lot of it, I'm not saying it's pointless, but we don't really need to, really dive into it. But the two main sort of sections of a player's score on Sorare is one, its decisive score, and the other one is all-round score. Decisive scores or points are basically when a player either scores a goal, gets an assist, negatively gets a red card, negatively gets an error-led to goal, gives away a penalty, as explained here. And the other two positives are clearance off the line and last man tackle. Now, every player starts a game, if they're in the starting 11, they will start on 35 points. In brackets here, we've got 25 for substitutes, and that was true for the last however many years this game's been going. But literally since like last week, Sorare have announced that substitutes coming off the bench will start on 35. I know it doesn't state that there, but in their latest blog it does. So yeah, whether the player comes off the bench or whether he starts, they always start on 35 points. Now, if he scores a goal or gets an assist or clearance off the line or last man tackles, any one of those 4 positive decisives, and I should add actually, penalty 1 as well is a positive decisive, but there's a bit of intricacy with that one, which I'll get into. But anyway, if any of those 5 things happen, your player will be on a 60 decisive score. So I got an example here. My Franco Ibarra last night got himself an assist, so that means his decisive score is on 60. Now, if he was to get 2 assists, he would be on 70. 3 assists, he'd be on 80. 4 assists, 90. 5 assists, 100, right? The max score on Sorare is 100. You can't get any higher than 100, from all around and decisive. So both of them get added together to create, his score. So like back to the Ibarra example, he scored a 28.1 all around score. He scored 60 AA because he got 1 assist, which obviously adds up to 88.1. So that's kind of decisives explained. I mean, of course, if he gets a negative decisive, so for example, Ibarra starts the game, he gets an assist, that jumps him up to 60. If he then gets a red card, which would be a negative decisive, he would then be back down to 35. So for every negative decisive your player has, he will lose, 20 points here. So you go from 35 to 15, 15 to 10, because that would be the second negative, from 15 to 5, and then from 5 to 0. So yeah, you can't get minus points on Sorare, as in your player either scores between 0 and 100. There's no minus counted on Sorare. If he does have a minus score, it would just count as 0. So yeah, this is just an example. A player that conceded 1 penalty and receives a red card will end up on level 2, minus 2, sorry, which is 5 points. So 2 negative decisive. So you jump from 15 to 5, 2 negative. Goalkeepers. we can look down here and it gives us a little breakdown of what the matrix used to be for goalkeepers and what they are now. When it says new, it's not that new. It's still like nearly 3 years old, but it's still relevant. Like it's still the exact same scoring matrix. So goalies can get attempted assists. They can even get big chances created, which is crazy. Goalies do really get penalized though for lost possession and passes lost. So say if a player or say if a goalkeeper, launches the ball up to the number 9, he loses the header, then your goalkeeper would basically lose minus 0.3 and minus 0.2, which is obviously minus 0.5 for every time they do that. So yeah, there is a big, there is not a big problem with the goalkeeper matrix for me, but I definitely think, goalkeepers should be penalized a little bit less for lost possession, but that's a different conversation. And then of course they get, their saves counted. So you've got save inside the box and save. You've got good high claim, punches, dive and save, dive and catch. If they don't claim across, it's -3. And we don't really ever see that, but the 6-second violation, they don't really ever get counted, to be fair. A smother is 5. Keeper sweeper is 3. It used to be 5, down to 3. And then goals conceded. Goalkeepers never used to lose points on goals conceded, but they do under this. I say new matrix. It's been around for a few years now, but yeah, that's kind of how goalkeepers work. Now, for a goalkeeper, basically, if they concede 3 goals, that counts as a negative decisive. So, for example, if we go back to this table here, your goalkeeper would start on 35, of course. If he concedes 3 goals, not only will he lose -9, because it's every goal you concede, you lose, -3. So that would be -9, 3 times 3, and then you would lose, or then you would be down to 15 points from 35, because that would be a negative decisive. So yeah, goalkeepers, basically you got to look out for the ones that don't concede 3 a lot of the time. That's kind of the, what you're kind of looking for there. But yeah, that's kind of the goalkeepers out of the way. There's not really too much else to go into for goalkeepers. So then defenders, yellow card, -3 has always been the case. They do get -2 for fouls. So like if a defender gives away a foul, not only will he lose a duel, but he will also lose a foul. So a duel lost is -2 for a defender, and then a foul is -2 as well. So you are losing -4 points if your player is penalized for a foul. That, for example, say if he misses a tackle or mistimes a tackle, that would be a -4 if he gets a foul, or if the ref gives a foul for that. Defenders do get -4 points for goals conceded, which is more than the goalkeeper, which is interesting. That used to be -2, but they doubled it. Defenders now lose less possession. I say now, it's been a thing for a few years, but yeah, so they lose 0.6 of a point. So yeah, if you've got a fullback that loves whipping balls into the box, well, yeah, if nobody's getting on the end of those balls, they're going to be losing possession for it. So that's something to keep in mind. They get 3 points for a big chance created, 3 points for an attempted assist, and then they get accurate passes, 0.08 points. If you've got defenders like a Trent maybe that's always in the final third, if Liverpool are dominating a game, he's going to be racking up these 0.4 points for the accurate final third passes, 0.5 points for an accurate long ball, and then 0.5 points for a long pass into the opposition's half, -0.2 of a point for missing a pass, 3 points for shot on target, that's for all positions, contest 1, 0.5 points, penalty area entry, so that's if Trent takes a corner, for example, and he lofts it into the box. If nobody gets on the end of it, then he would technically be losing points because, okay, the ball goes into the box, that's plus 0.5 points, which is penalty area entry. But if nobody connects from his team to that ball, then it would be a possession lost and a missed pass. So you're technically losing 0.3 of a point every time that happens. Of course, if somebody does get on the end of it and they have a shot or, they have a header or whatever, defenders do get +3 for the attempted assist. If it was a big chance as well, you could get both. So you could, double up on that, on those 2 threes of big chance created and attempted assist. So just keep that in mind. For midfielders and forwards, so yellow cards is the same for every position, like I said. Fouls are only -1 for midfielders. Error led to shot is -3. If a midfielder of yours is fouled, so say if he wins a duel by getting fouled, not only will he get 1 point for being fouled, he will also earn 0.8 points, which is down by here, for the duel won. Every duel lost is -0.8. Interceptions are 3 points. Big chance created the same for defenders as they are for midfielders and forwards, and that is always 3 points. Attempted assist is slightly smaller, which is only 2 points for midfielders, same as forwards, which we'll get into. Misplaced passes -0.3. You've got big chance missed and penalty kick missed, both So if you miss a penalty, you're getting -5 times 2, effectively, for big chance missed and penalty kick missed. So yeah, having defenders that get lots of interceptions, get lots of attempted assists, big chances created, that don't lose the ball very often, like Rodri maybe. He's basically the best midfielder on the game. Well, he definitely was last year anyway, and I'm sure he probably will continue to do that. But yeah, loads of interceptions, loads of duels won, and loads of tackles is never a bad thing in this game. And then for forwards, yellow card's the same. Fouls is actually half a point, so it's not as hefty as it is for a midfielder and a defender. Error letter shot's the same. If a forward is fouled, he gets 1+ points. And then the weird thing is with forwards, they don't actually get the points given for a tackle won. So if your forward does win a tackle, like, it will count, but you won't actually get any points for it. Now, when I say it will count, it actually counts towards a thing called a double-double, triple-double, and a triple-triple, which I'll explain a bit later on, after we've done this forward section. That's where, like, kind of the big points are accumulated on the Sorare Scoring Matrix, despite what position that player is. The double-double, triple-double, and triple-triple, all the same criteria for whatever position, as in, like, for outfielders. You don't get them as goalkeepers, only for outfielders. Forwards do get interceptions, though. They do get the 3 points for interceptions, but not for tackles. They get 3 points for big chances created. They get 2 points for an attempted assist. Shots on targets, 3 points. And then same as, as a midfielder would have, penalty kick miss and big chance miss, both -5. So, yeah, there's not that much to really go through outside of what we've just scanned over there. Of course, the double-doubles and stuff I will definitely get into. This is just showing the impact, which is not something we really need to know. But yeah, double-doubles, triple-triples, and triple-doubles. That is one thing I think that haunts a lot of Sorare managers. It's something that they just don't really grasp for a long time, which I understand because it is quite complicated. If you've not seen a scoring matrix before, I wouldn't say it's complex, but it might be compared to FPL. I don't play FPL enough to kind of know that. So yeah, double-double is the first one, right? So a double-double is basically you need between tackles won, or 1 tackles, interceptions, and duels won. You need 2 of those 3 situations. So either tackles and interceptions, or tackles and duels won, or duels won and interceptions. 2 of the 3 need to be +2 positive, right? So let me show you. So if basically, I know this Ibarra has 4 tackles won, as you can see. 4 times 3 is obviously how he gets his 12. But let's just say he's got 2 tackles won, okay? So he's got 2 tackles won. And here he's lost 6 duels and won 10, which means he's net 4 duels won, right? 6 minus 10 plus 4. So he's net 4 duels. For him to get the double-double, he only needs to be net 2 duels. So if he's net 2 duels and he has 2 tackles, that is a double-double. And as you can see here, you can only get 1. Like, you can't get more than 1 double-double, but a double-double is 4 points. So you'll get, say if he had only 2 tackles won, that would be 6 points for the 2 tackles won. Say if he only had 2 net duels, that would be plus 1.6 points, because as a midfielder, you get 0.8 points per duel won. For a forward, it's 1. For a defender, it's 1.5 points each time. So as long as you've got 2 tackles and 2 net duels won, you will get the double-double, no matter what position you are. Now, like I said, it could be a combination of interceptions. You could have 2 interceptions and 2 net duels won. That would still be a double-double as well. You could have 2 interceptions and 2 tackles won. That would also be a double-double. The interesting thing, about a tackle won on this game is if you get a tackle won, you automatically get a duel won. So, say if a player just starts a game, they're 5 minutes into a game, and they win 2 tackles, and they don't lose a tackle, right, for the first 5 minutes or whatever. He would have, let's just say it was a defender. So a defender would get 6 points for the 2 tackles won, and they would get 3 points for the 2 duels won. But tackles and duels won are interlocked. Like, they come together. You cannot win a tackle without winning a duel, if that makes sense. Interceptions are different to that. If you get an interception, it's nothing to do with your duels. It's completely separate. So that is how a player would get a double-double on this game. Now, a triple-double is very similar to a double-double, But it's a little bit better, and you do get 6 points for that. I know it shows 0 here. It's because he didn't get one. But if he was to get a triple-double, he would get 6 points for that. And to get a triple-double, you need 2 duels, or 2 net duels, 1, 2 interceptions, and 2 tackles, 1, effectively, to get the triple-double, which would get you 6 extra points. Now, the triple-triple, you've probably guessed it, you need 3 of each. You need 3 tackles, 1, you need 3 net duels, 1, and you need 3 interceptions. So, Ibarra last night was, I mean, he was 4 net duels, 1, he had 4 tackles, so he was basically missing the 3 interceptions. If he got 2 interceptions, then he would have got the triple-double. If he got 3 interceptions, he would have managed the triple-triple, which is the highest combination of all these factors. Now, triple-triple is worth 12 points. So it goes from 4 to 6 to 12. So, if your players are getting triple-triples, they're going to be scoring very well on the Matrix. I can just guarantee you that. So that's probably the only intricate part I would say about the Matrix that a lot of people just kind of miss. Now, we're over on Sorare doing it now. It's a similar sort of setup to what we just saw on Sorare data. I'll just go over to Ibarra just because it's quite easy to compare that, because, yeah, it's obviously the same stats, just shows a little bit differently. Go to Enzo Fernandez. So this was in the Copa America final. He didn't get any, his decisive score was just what he got from starting the game, because he didn't get any goals, assists, clearances off the line, etc., etc. But his all-around score added up to 12.7 points. So what was it? He played 97 minutes. You don't get any points for just playing X amount of minutes. There's no points for that. So, yeah, what was it there? He was fouled twice. He fouled twice, and he was fouled once. So he lost 2 points for the 2 fouls, but he gained a point back for being fouled. And then for defending, all he did was block a cross, which was 1 point as a midfielder. He lost possession 6 times. He won possession 7 times. He lost 3 duels. He won 3 duels, so he was net 0 on duels, and he had 1 interception. And then for passing, he made 58 accurate passes. 7 of those were in the final third. 5 of those were long balls, and 4 of those were missed passes. So he loses 1.2 points for that. And he had no attacking stats, no shots on target, no contest won, no penalty area entries, and no big chances missed. Honestly, I don't think there's much else outside of that really needs explaining. Like I mentioned, they have updated the whole substitutes now coming off the field, or onto the field, do start with 35. I don't think that'll have a massive impact, to be honest, on the scoring in general. Like, it used to be 25, and now it's 35. It's matched. It's the same as if when a player starts a game. So, yeah, no difference there. There is a weird little scenario with penalties won. So I'll try and explain it now. So if a player wins a penalty, and so let's say Enzo Fernandez wins a penalty and Messi scores the penalty. Messi will get a decisive for scoring a goal, of course. So he would be, you go from 35 to 60 decisive. Enzo Fernandez would go from 35 to 60 because he won the penalty. But if Messi missed the penalty, Enzo Fernandez wouldn't get the penalty won, even though he won the penalty, because the penalty wasn't scored. He would not get the decisive for it, which is a weird thing, I think, in the Matrix. It's a bit of a weird one. It comes up quite often throughout the seasons on Sorare from various different managers that don't know that exists, and when their player wins a penalty and the other player on that team misses the penalty, they're like, "Where's my decisive?" Well, you don't get it. You don't get the decisive if the other player misses the penalty. Now, another funny thing with penalties, I guess it's not that funny, but if Enzo wins the penalty and says, "You know what, Messi, I want to take the penalty." So Enzo steps up and he scores the pen. You don't get 2 decisives for that. Enzo can't get 2 decisives for winning the pen and scoring the penalty. He's only going to get 1 decisive for that. Decisives don't stack, if that makes sense, for penalties. But if they're separate players that win it and take it and score it, then technically both players will get decisives for that. So yeah, like I said, I think I've managed to cover everything there. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 things when I'm editing this back I'll remember that I didn't mention, but I'm pretty confident that is kind of everything you really need to know. Now, I guess the next thing then is, okay, well, I know how players score points. Is then, well, what positions score the most amount of points as far as like positionally. So I'll give you a few little blanket statements in that, like forwards, for example. If you've got a forward card on Sorare and like in real life he plays as a number 9, for example, Haaland Haaland's not really involved in much of the build-up play at City, right? All he does is like finish chances or miss chances. So the Matrix doesn't really favor forwards that are just goal merchants, if that makes sense. Like, it would be nice if we had like a brace or like a hat-trick, like extra point system for forwards that just score goals. I know that's the whole point of, number 9s. They're there to score goals. But, the Matrix on Sorare really favors forwards that maybe are more like wingers and they take on players like a Jeremy Doku, for example, who always is always involved in the build-up play. He's always trying to take on players, which is, you get, for taking on players and dribbling past them, you normally get duels 1 and contest 1 for doing that. Whereas, like, if Haaland's just in on goal and he scores, he'll get +3 for the shot on target and he'll get the decisive, of course, for scoring the goal. So yeah, forwards that like are really involved, they're taking corners, they're taking set pieces, they're really involved in the build-up play and getting loads of touches on the ball. They're very much a better forward option than forwards that just score goals. There's definitely room for forwards that just score goals and don't get much all-around score. For the most part, you want forwards that obviously score goals and get assists, but you also want them to get high AA, high all-around score, which is done by tackles, interceptions, duels 1, contest 1, passes, attempted assists, all that jazz, right? For defenders, the blanket statement probably is fullbacks, their scores are way more varied in that, if a fullback gets an assist and gets a clean sheet, that's one thing I didn't actually mention, to be fair, that, I've just reminded myself there. Defenders do get a clean sheet bonus. I don't think was it mentioned in here? So goalkeepers, so that's all the AA stuff, all around score, sorry. Defenders, there should be yeah, it doesn't really state it here, does it? That's weird. Well, defenders basically, oh, there it is, sorry, clean sheets. That's one thing I did mention. So defenders, if they get a clean sheet, meaning that they don't concede a goal in the game whilst they're on the field after the 60th minute, so they'll get 10 points. 10 points added to their all-around score, not their decisive. It's nothing. A clean sheet isn't a decisive for a defender, but it is a decisive for a goalkeeper. So that's how a goalkeeper would get decisives. It's clean sheets, it's penalty saves. It's obviously if they get an assist, but it's very, very rare, as is a goal, of course. And defenders, of course, can't concede a goal if they won that 10 plus points. The funky thing is with defenders, say if a defender plays 61 minutes and the game was 0-0 at that point, and he gets taken off, he's injured or whatever, he will keep the clean sheet even if his team go on to concede a goal after the 61st minute. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Kind of didn't mention it at the start, but all these sections that we've seen here, that is all to do with the all-around score of players, not the decisive scores. But yeah, back to defenders, a fullback score, like say for example, a Trent, right? If Trent and Liverpool are at home to a really bad team, the chances are Trent is going to absolutely crush on the Matrix that game because he's going to get multiple attempted assists, multiple maybe big chances created, loads of final third passes. If they then go on to win the game and he gets an assist maybe and keeps a clean sheet, then he could easily score 100. Like Trent is that, that kind of guy on this Matrix. Whereas a centre-back, because they're not really in the final third that often, they won't be racking up a crazy amount of final third passes. Some do, like a Saliba maybe at Arsenal. If the other team are really camped in and are in a low block, then of course the centre backs can spray it about a little bit. But the chances of getting assists and all that fun stuff as maybe a fullback would. Centre backs are normally as volatile in their scores compared to a fullback. There's room for both, and the Matrix does favour both in ways. But in certain scenarios, like I said, if Liverpool are at home to somebody rubbish and Trent's in line for a really good game, and you can see him bombing up and down all game, then you're better off probably trying to play. Like if you had Trent and if you had Van Dijk to choose from, you're probably going to choose Trent because he's going to be a bit more active in that game, in that scenario. Whereas if it's a game where Liverpool are going to defend a little bit more and there might be a few tackles, interceptions, duels won, lots of headers won from a Van Dijk, then you'd probably, favour the Van Dijk that game. So it's all about, picking your matchups and picking the right time to play the right player, as long as if you own those players, of course. So yeah, I thought I was done, but there was a few extra bits I had to mention there. If there's anything I've missed out on, lads, or if there's any questions, please do let me know in the comment section and I'll answer them as best as I can. I hope this video has been of value to you, lads. If it has, please do leave it a like. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I shall see you guys in the next video.